It is past time for Trump to fire Pam Bondi and replace her with Judge Jeanine Pirro. A lot of people never expected to hear that from me, but I've got 5 solid reasons for doing this. And once you hear them, you'll see why they're valid. All 5 points are really irrefutable. This terrorist murderer in D.C. really puts the spotlight on a continuing problem plaguing this administration. This typical attack was predictable slaughter by another immigrant who should not have been here in the first place. The reactions of Pirro versus Bondi showed the sharp contrast in their presence and ability to step up with a confident air of control that's necessary to manage the situation as it develops. Attorney General Blank Stare Bondi is just not up to the job. She's failed to earn the confidence of the people that she actually works for. That's us. She's a federal employee. They all work for us. We've got a right to weigh in on this. That said, I'm going to address some other issues regarding the nagging problem of Trump's history of AG choices. People need to think about some of the facts that you're going to be hearing here. Like I said from the start, we named this channel What They Don't Say because you're going to hear things here that are just honest evaluations of situations as they develop. All of them are based on fact that can be proven or our U.S. Constitution. And that's all that should apply in these cases. As for Bondi, she's had plenty of time to prove herself, and all she's accomplished is to prove that her early detractors were correct. In past discussions regarding Pam Bondi, I've had people tell me over and over again, these are all Bondi supporters. It takes time. It takes a long time to put this whole case together. I call BS on that. When the Democrats get evidence of a crime against a Republican, they get the evidence at 2 o'clock. They've got charges filed by 4 o'clock. They don't wait until the whole investigation is complete. They run with what they've got when they've got it. That's what aggressive prosecution is. That's what they're supposed to be doing. Pam Bondi doesn't have to complete every step of investigating everybody before she files the first charges against the first crime that was proven. With all the evidence that we have all seen, there is no valid reason why the first charges have not been filed against the easiest people to knock off. Get them in there, grill them, cut deals, and that's something we're going to discuss later too. That's within the 5 points that demonstrate why Bondi is not fit to hold this job. And I still need to get to the 5 obvious reasons she should be out. But the people that I know that are in Florida that I discuss politics with, none of them supported her as AG. That gave me my first red flags because these are astute people. Everything they said about her has proven to be true. If you think you got justifiable reasons why Pam Bondi should remain in office, put them in the comments. We'd all love to hear it. If there's something valid that I've missed, put it out there. I can make mistakes, but you've got a tough case to prove. Put it in the comments. Many people believe she's only holding on now because she plays lapdog for Trump. This is one point that South Park probably got right. She reminds me of one of those yappy little fuzzball dogs that couldn't whip anything that's a real threat, but runs around barking up a show while watching to make sure that her master is seeing it. She needs to go. Trump needs to realize she is one cabinet official who is not serving with majority support of his own voters. I doubt if even 15% of Trump voters still trust or support Bondi. I will not say that Pirro would be the dream replacement that would assuage all the misgivings. I support her as a replacement because I believe she is more sincere about getting the job done and is also capable of doing it. I have repeatedly stated over many years that I am no fan of Judge Pirro. I have my reasons for that, and people have already heard them. Whether I like someone or not isn't a qualifier for assessing their ability to get the job done. I ran some big companies, and I learned long ago that people I don't like can still possess genuine talents and do a great job. My opinion of Judge Jeanine isn't based on emotions, but it's the faults that she carries in her history. But none of them are deal killers. We're all flawed people. We're not going to find one that isn't. Yeah, she's got some flaws and some baggage, but I still believe that she's got the skill sets to get it done if she commits. Right now, we are underserved. Pirro does have the abilities, and she seems to have a genuine passion for prosecuting the criminals who richly deserve it. Bondi doesn't show passion, strength, or principled motivation. She comes across as someone trying to create an image, not someone whose personality and deeds create the image for her. A lot of people, including myself, feel she's just a phony, a lousy actress with the stage skills of a high school drama class student that can't make the cut. I don't know of anyone on the right whose presence is less convincing than blank stare Bondi. Comparing Pirro to Bondi highlights the difference between a capable and passionate style of genuine, aggressive prosecution versus showboat phony. Now let's look at these 5 reasons that blank stare Bondi needs to go. Number 1, let's start with the sloppy mess and the string of distractions over the Epstein files that was mostly caused by blundering Bondi. Now never mind the fact Epstein did not kill himself, and nobody is investigating that. That's all buried, and we know it's buried. Bondi could have opened that back up, but here we are. Anyway, as far as the Epstein file controversy goes, from the beginning, she rushed to put on a show without thinking it through or being prepared. Don't make public promises when you don't even know if you can keep them. That was a rookie mistake, and she's not a rookie. She's been in the public eye for a long time. But she flashed her little Epstein file binder notebooks that were supposed to contain all the juicy meat. There wasn't anything there. So she claimed that they had a truckload of Epstein files that were held hostage up in New York City. Well, that all came to nothing, too. After all the foot dragging and watching the blowback build up, she still waited for an act of Congress instead of just releasing the files. Meanwhile, sensible people who are paying attention realize she hasn't done anything to prosecute the perverts who abused those girls. Are there too many big names and big donors in the mix? Those girls who were victims of the wealthy still have no justice and remain victimized by the blundering Bondi DOJ that is still failing them. We're all left knowing that once again we have another Department of Justice who sees some criminals as too big to jail. Point number 2. While we're talking about too big to jail, nobody big is getting prosecuted for anything. Bondi loves her stage acts. Remember when she donned her little camo hat because she wanted to be like Kristi Noem and be seen on the scene in action? She happily took to the microphones grandstanding about drug dealers and gangsters that she was charging because, as she says, no one is above the law. We will find you and get you, blah, 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 blah. Nameless, faceless thugs we never heard of get heavy charges, but the big names we know are guilty face no consequences. Yes, under Bondi, there is still a 2-tiered Department of Justice, and many criminals are still considered too big to jail. Number 3, instead of making things happen, she tries to take advantage of what others have done. We see this in many of the big FBI busts, the arrest of illegals, the closure of the border. There's been multiple cases where the FBI achieves a major bust, then blank stare Bondi rushes to stage a press event where she takes credit for what her Department of Justice has done. Then we hear the investigations began 1 year ago, 5 years ago, before she even got the job. But she's grandstanding it. She loves her cameras and she loves those staged events. And it's bad for her because she doesn't even perform well in them. She may think it makes her look good, but it's bad for the team. Stealing credit of achievements by the Department of Homeland Security or others who did most of the work without her, it only leaves the team bitter and it disrupts the cohesive atmosphere a true team player values as a priority for effective collaboration. Number 4, the RICO investigations. Musk and the Doge team exposed a staggering amount of systemic theft of taxpayer funds by government officials working with NGOs. That is the pure definition of organized crime. It was an enormous and entrenched network of thieves, which had to include many names we are all familiar with. Who is being charged? Nobody. We have RICO laws for the sole purpose of prosecuting organized crime. Rudy Giuliani showed how it's done when he brought down the 5 mafia families in New York City. You announce the launch of a RICO case, and then you bust a few of the small fish. You get them in the back room and you threaten them with decades in prison, unless they want to cut a deal to turn in a bigger boss so they can get their own charges reduced. As soon as that begins, it starts to snowball. People start running to the FBI because they know that the FBI is coming for them. So they start running to the FBI with evidence against the bosses because they're all running scared. You don't want to be the last person to turn squealer in a RICO case. If someone beats you to it and the feds don't need the evidence that you can bring, you can't cut a deal or negotiate a lighter sentence. Bondi hasn't announced a RICO, and now people are still in place where they can destroy evidence instead of turning it in to save their own sorry butts. This is a major failure of Bondi. The failure to establish a RICO case for obvious organized crime within our government is an opportunity lost. Number 5. I've already mentioned it, but it deserves its own spot on the list. To all of us, with blundering Bondi at the helm, we see there is still a 2-tiered justice system in America. Big political figures of either party are too big to jail, except for Trump, of course. The Democrats work harder at prosecuting a fake crime than Bondi works to prosecute real ones. Justice is evidently for just us. Big shots run free, uncharged for crimes that would lock us up for many years. 10 members of the Biden crime family received funds of corruption from foreign countries and entities who got the squeeze from the Biden syndicate. Much of it was laundered through a maze of fake shell corporations that had no product, no sales records, no financial activities or transactions except for international transfers of millions of dollars to the Biden crime family. No one is charged. Even the clumsy dipshit Hunter is still running free and living large. What is going on in the DOJ? Too big to jail. Pelosi set up the January 6th debacle with the help of others, and then innocent citizens wind up getting locked up as political prisoners on trumped-up charges. Ashli Babbit was murdered inside the Capitol building, and the man who killed her got a reward for it. He got a bonus. He was treated as a hero. If you are committing a crime, say a bank robbery, somebody gets killed, the driver of the getaway car who's sitting outside can be charged with that murder because he was taking part in the crime that resulted in a murder. We've got a dead girl, a veteran, who was murdered inside our national capital, and no one has been charged for that murder. Everybody responsible for setting up that whole fake debacle of the January 6th staged riot that Pelosi set up, everybody in the chain of command that set that up has the blood of Ashli Babbit on their hands, and we can't even get charges against the actual guy that pulled the trigger. And like I say, a getaway driver at a bank robbery will go to prison for a murder charge. The charges that should be brought against these people for staging that fake riot, those should be felony charges. Ashli Babbit was murdered in the commission of a felony, and there are a lot of people involved, and they're not even being looked at for anything. No one is charged for these horrible crimes of corruption. The entire January 6th committee should be charged, and though they destroyed evidence, there's still no justice or accountability even for that. The bad guys still win under blundering Bondi, as long as they're too big to jail. Fauci lied repeatedly after endangering the whole world, shafting the entire country. He runs free while swimming in the comfortable wealth of the highest pension ever given a U.S. federal employee. Over $8,000 per week goes to Fauci in his retirement. $8,000 per week when he should be sitting in prison. Over $400,000 per year, and he's guaranteed raises in the deal. They don't even talk about it anymore. When was the last time Bondi mentioned Fauci? Blank stare, Bondi does not get the job done. This list could be a lot longer, but the point is made. She doesn't deliver equal justice under the law. And that should be her number one goal. Will Pirro do RICO investigations or go after the big shots? I don't know. Would Trump let her? We must ask ourselves why he has never seated a single good AG when he can seat stellar talent in all other positions. Rubio, the best Secretary of State we ever had. Tom Homan, God loves the man. I mean, you go down the list, these people are all doing great jobs, except for blank stare Bondi. 10 months into his second term, and he still never picked a good AG. We had Sessions, who had to be thrown out right away. We had Barr, who he went to the swamp and pulled out of the mothballs. 2 weeks after he gets in there, he said, well, we thoroughly invested Hillary, decided she's never committed any crimes. There's no evidence of that. Trump kept the guy. Why can't Trump select and keep a good attorney general? He still isn't doing it. And this is probably the worst stain on his record. Here we are, 10 months into the second term, and he's still not picked one good one. It's time to correct that. If Trump doesn't want to fire Blundering Bondi, then give her a quiet opportunity to step aside. Give Pirro a shot at it. I suggest her because she has the confidence of a majority of Trump supporters. She's got the skill sets if she would apply them. I don't believe Bondi's competent. Let Bondi resign if you want to be nice, but get rid of her. All problems are management problems, and the Bondi problem falls right in the lap of Trump, and it's a black eye on this administration. She diminishes the team. They all work for us. Demand this. We've got a right to, and we've got to get this right. And if we do, my friends, maybe God will continue to bless this great country of ours. Thanks for listening.